Now at 9, Independence, Kansas police search for a hit-and-run suspect. Plus, how the Joplin Police Department's prepared to deal with any possible mass shootings. And
as gas prices remain high, a local travel expert offers insight as to what summer travel could look like this year. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with those details.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. Authorities in Montgomery County, Kansas are looking for a hit-and-run suspect after they were unable to capture him in an overnight standoff. This is a photo from the Montgomery County Chronicle of a police vehicle outside an Independence home during the standoff. Independence police were looking for 39-year-old Brian Metzger on a charge of attempted murder. They say last Thursday he intentionally hit another man with a car, then left the scene. Police had reason to believe Metzger was in the home last night, so they surrounded it. But when they searched inside this morning, they could not find Metzger. Authorities are searching for a suspect following a robbery at a Webb City Subway restaurant. Officials say a man pulled out a gun during the robbery around 8:30 this morning. They say the suspect demanded all of the store's money and left the area in a dark gray vehicle. That vehicle pictured here looks to be a dark gray Chrysler 300 with dark tinted windows, possibly an Oklahoma license plate. Authorities say no one was hurt during that robbery. The prosecutor has charged a suspect in an Aurora, Missouri shooting. Authorities say 22-year-old Cole Walker became angry with 36-year-old Shannon Goebel and confronted him at Aurora Inn Motel. They say Walker then fired a handgun at Goebel, striking him in the leg. Officials say Walker left and tried to hide the gun. Walker is charged with assault of the first degree or attempted armed criminal action, unlawful use of a weapon, and tampering with physical evidence. Authorities say this is not a random shooting and the victim and suspect had a previous relationship. Walker has been denied bond. Let's check in with Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, we did get more scattered thunderstorms out there during the morning hours, and then the afternoon actually turned out pretty good. We really heated up during the afternoon, near 90 degrees for a high. Started at 68. We have watched some isolated little thunderstorms, mainly off toward our east, but most of the evening hours have shaped up pretty good. But look at this. Look at this huge swath of rain through Nebraska, all the way down through western Kansas, and of course, it's heading toward us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So we got a lot to talk about all coming up here in just a bit.
Catch you then. With the recent mass shootings across the country, some questions are being asked about how our local law enforcement would prepare for an event like that. Well, officials from the Joplin Police Department say they're as proactive as possible when it comes to active shooter threats. They also have investigators who look into potential threats. Some officers are also certified to respond specifically to these events.
We do take this matter very seriously. We've got policies in place, and we have officers that we send across the country to become certified to respond to active threats. They're certified to teach particular response tactics.
You can find how local school districts are preparing for mass shootings on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Record high gas prices are impacting anyone hitting the road this summer. As drivers voice their frustrations, one local travel agent says she's seeing more people traveling than before the pandemic. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more.
The Missouri Welcome Center right off of I-44 has seen travelers from all over, all worried about the same issue. A study from the American Hotel and Lodging Association found that roughly 60% of Americans said they would take more trips this year compared to last year, although they found higher gas prices are causing travelers to scale back their summer plans.
Hotels are outrageously priced. I don't know why they raised their prices.
Travel agent Terry Littleton says despite high prices, she's seen an increase in local residents traveling this summer.
A lot of people are traveling. They're fulfilling their dreams or their bucket lists, and even with the price of fuel and everything going up right now, I think more people are concentrating on spending their money on experiences and services.
But not everyone is okay with forking over extra money for a summer trip.
The prices in fuel for planes which in turn is ticket prices to us. Ridiculous. We're thinking about not going to Hawaii this year because it's going to be over $1,000 this time.
Littleton said the best way to get more bang for your buck, plan in advance.
The good thing about booking in advance is you can pay, you know, most of the time if it's a package deal or a cruise, you know, you can put down a deposit and then your final payment's not due for a few more months depending on how far out you're booking, but and then that allows people to kind of pay a little at a time and not have to just whip out a bunch of money all at once.
And if you are traveling this summer, it may be hard to avoid inflation during your trip. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Experts say there is no immediate end in sight to those rising fuel costs. The U.S. Department of Education is giving Missouri Southern a $1.6 million grant for the Upward Bound program. Now, Upward Bound provides academic support for area high school students to prepare them for post-secondary education. Helps nearly 70 students from the Joplin, Carl Junction, Webb City, Carthage, East Newton school districts. That grant is to cover the next 5 years. Scammers have been changing up their strategies, with more pretending to be from government agencies. These scams have targeted a lot of four-staters. The Better Business Bureau is warning people to use caution when you're contacted by a supposed government agency or if you're being offered a grant free of charge. Scammers may also ask for money in the form of a gift card. One thing the Bureau warns, watch out for the people reaching out to you to apply for a grant.
And in terms of the dollar amount, we're seeing this nationwide. This has gone up in a huge way. It's gone up, it's more than doubled, almost tripled in just 2 years. So we're seeing that with a lot of people getting these PPP, the personal paycheck, and a lot of people getting the stimulus checks, that's leading credence to scammers' claims that there's more funds out there.
You can find a full list of tips on how to prevent being scammed on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. President Biden signed several bipartisan bills into law today that improve health care for veterans. As Natalie Brandy explains, one of the new laws expands access to breast cancer screenings and is named after a veteran who recently passed away.
CBS News spoke with Marine veteran Dr. Kate Hendricks Thomas less than 6 months before she lost her battle with stage 4 breast cancer, leaving behind her young son Matthew and her husband Shane.
The radiologist said it looked like I'd been dipped in something.
Hendricks Thomas learned of her diagnosis at age 38, more than a decade after returning home from Iraq, where she was exposed to toxic burn pits on base. Fellow Marine veteran Mindy Byer has been closely tracking legislation named in her friend's honor, requiring the Department of Veterans Affairs to provide mammograms for those who served near burn pits or had other toxic exposures, regardless of symptoms, age, or family history.
We hope that the message is getting out to veterans. If you have been serving, even if you weren't around burn pits, there's a possibility you were around some sort of toxic exposure. Please go earlier. Please check yourself out.
The legislation is one of 9 bills for veterans the president signed into law Tuesday.
Because veterans are the backbone, the spine of who we are as a country. We owe them. We owe them big.
This signing ceremony comes with pressure on Capitol Hill to still pass legislation to help an estimated 3.5 million veterans exposed to toxins in more recent conflicts. It took Hendricks Thomas 3 years to get her claim approved after it was initially denied.
Kate was very proud to serve her country, and I think that her message would always be fight for your country, but then fight for each other when you get back.
It's a message advocates hope senators hear when they take a final vote on burn pit legislation expected later this week.
If the bill named honoring our pact passes in the Senate, it's expected to get a final vote in the House. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Randall Dainty served in the U.S. Navy from 1943 to 46. The Wyandotte, Oklahoma native was stationed in the North Atlantic and Europe. And we salute constructionman mechanic 3rd class Randall Dainty, a four-state hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later Athlete of the Year honors for a Pitt State track and field All-American. We'll have details in sports.
Voorhees, Martucci.
Well, of course, we had some more scattered showers, even some thunderstorms during the morning hours, and then even a few isolated little guys popped up this afternoon into the evening hours. But yes, another round heading toward us late tonight. That's why we have flash flood watches in effect. On the Kansas side, you got to remember the ground is super saturated. We still even have some flood warnings, these little green blobs that are popping up due to the high rivers, creeks, and streams. Not much is going on out there right now. We have had some isolated little thunderstorms, mainly on the Missouri side, but overall, we look okay for the next several hours. Then we'll start to see some changes. All right, warmer today, lower 80s yesterday. We pushed 90 during the afternoon. We're still warm, we're still muggy. Most of us are sitting into the mid to upper 70s across the region. Checking out 7th and Rangeline, 77 south winds at about 10. Humidity is at 74%. Well, look at that. Heading toward us. Look at the storms exploding out across Nebraska, parts of Iowa, and then into western parts of Kansas. A lot of severe weather, and these are dipping off toward the south and to the east. So south of Omaha, and then stretching into northwestern parts of Kansas. These extend down into southwestern Kansas. It's going to come in kind of in a split band. I do not expect all of us to see rain. I think about 60% of us will get rain as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Now, very quiet for the next several hours. It's after about 4 o'clock, 3 or 4 o'clock. Here's that northern band, but look at these scattered thunderstorms popping up along and south of the I-44 corridor. Any of these could be strong. Any of these could be low-grade severe. If we had anything low-grade severe, we're talking about gusty winds and some large hail. Look how they expand through the morning hours. Here's 6:30 in the morning, some clusters of bigger storms. Now, this is a model projection. No model is right. It just gives you an idea of what could happen. Scattered thunderstorms continue, could be pretty intense down through northeastern Oklahoma. So from Independence down to Nowata, Grand Lake into northwestern Arkansas. And then just good old showers and thunderstorms after that point in time. So here's 8, 9 a.m. We're still going to have these showers sticking around a good chunk of the morning. I think these will be out of here by the afternoon. But as we get into the afternoon, here comes the actual cold front. So along the front, so here's 12:30, some isolated little thunderstorms try to pop up and slide southeast as we go into the evening hours. So that's another little band we got to keep our eyes on. Morning storms, isolated storms, high temp, right around 80 degrees as we head into the afternoon hours. 80 tomorrow, 82 on Thursday, 83 Friday. Another good band is going to roll in Friday morning. But most of the weekend looking pretty good. Saturday for sure, partly sunny, high temp of 82.
82. We'll take that on Saturday.
Yeah, and then the 90s.
Well, we'll deal with that when we have to. Thanks. Here's a look at our tower camera sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. Check it out anytime. It's on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Coming up, the push for bipartisan gun legislation.
More senators are weighing in on the gun control debate in the wake of several mass shootings in the U.S. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington, and I'll have details coming up.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are zeroing in on the gun control debate, and an agreement on at least some things now seems more likely. Reporter Madeline Rivera has details from Washington.
And what are you doing?
Emotional testimony on Capitol Hill from Garnell Whitfield, whose mother, Ruth Whitfield, was one of the 10 people killed in the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York last month. Whitfield now pleading for lawmakers to take action as he grieves his own loss.
I ask every one of you to imagine the faces of your mothers as you look at mine and ask yourself, is there nothing that we can do?
His appeal during a Senate Judiciary Committee domestic terrorism hearing comes as lawmakers work to reach a narrow bipartisan deal on gun reform. On Tuesday morning, Senator Chris Murphy, one of the lead negotiators, met with President Biden.
I'm grateful that the White House is giving us the space necessary to get it.
How much time, sir?
Murphy says the discussions center on key issues like background checks, mental health, and school security. But a ban on AR-15 weapons is not on the table, a measure unlikely to get Republican support.
The issues that they should be focused on is how do you keep those types of weapons out of the hands of these young, in this case male, very deranged young men.
Actor Matthew McConaughey, who was born in Uvalde, weighed in on the debate from the White House.
This should be a nonpartisan issue. This should not be a partisan issue.
On Wednesday, a House committee will hold a hearing on gun violence with testimony from an 11-year-old survivor of the Uvalde shooting who says she smeared herself in her friend's blood to avoid being shot. In Washington, Malda Rivera, Fox News.
Still ahead, promising results from a trial of a drug to treat rectal cancer.
Ashley.
Researchers at a major cancer hospital in New York announced a potential breakthrough in the ongoing fight against rectal cancer. They say a recent drug trial administered to a small group of patients with rectal cancer defeated the disease in every single patient. Reporter Anna Eliopoulos has more on that story.
A potential breakthrough for the thousands of people across the globe suffering from rectal cancer. A team of researchers at New York's Memorial Sloan Kettering conducted a trial on 18 rectal cancer patients. All the patients took an experimental drug made by GlaxoSmithKline every 3 weeks for 6 months. After 6 months, researchers were astonished to discover that the cancer had vanished in every single patient.
What's particularly really exciting about this is the potential for, immunotherapy by itself to be given to patients in a way that they may never need, chemotherapy.
Researchers described the news as, quote, unheard of, and said this is the first time a drug had an effect like this on a particular cancer. There was also no evidence of cancer during follow-up appointments 6 to 25 months after the trial concluded. Doctors were surprised to find that no further treatment was needed and none of the patients had significant complications during the trial.
Is really a remarkable difference, and it really could dramatically impact, obviously the quality of life and the survival of patients with rectal cancer.
Doctors cautioned that more research will need to be done on a larger study group to determine the effectiveness of the treatment.
Obviously, it's very small and much longer follow-up will be needed. It's only 12 patients, but hey, we're oncologists. We have to be optimists, right?
And the treatment is not cheap. The New York Times reports that the price tag is $11,000 per dose. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Up next, you're going to learn about a couple of shipwrecks discovered off Columbia and the treasures they hold. Colombian authorities discovered centuries-old shipwrecks complete with gold coin treasures. Colombian naval officials conducted underwater monitoring of the long-sunken San Jose galleon and discovered 2 other historical shipwrecks nearby. One is believed to be a Spanish colonial-era boat. The other is thought to be from the time of Colombia's War of Independence from Spain. That was some 200 years ago. New images of the shipwreck revealed gold coins and cannons, as well as other items such as vases and crockery. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way.
How former players of the Fort Scott Community Football Team are looking to pay homage to the now fallen program. I'm Jalen Banks with more on the story.
Plus, the Neosho School District unveils the name for the future Performing Arts Center.
To find out more.
The Fort Scott Community College football team was terminated last fall, but alumni of the team have found a way to honor the team. KOAM's Jalen Banks has more.
The Greyhounds would play their first game in 1923, and over the next 98 years would go on to win 450 games, appear in 4 national championship games, and winning one of them in 1970. The program has a rich history, featuring players who would go on to the NFL, earn Pro Bowl honors, and win Super Bowls, such as Levante David and Jason Pierre-Paul.
Maybe on the sideline of a ball game, in the end zone after a ball game, standing outside that locker room in the north end of that stadium when those kids come out. I smell that grass. smell that uniform. You see those kids come out that north door, and I mean, your pulse jumps. Get a few goosebumps, and you were part of something that was really special.
The Fort Scott Community College football team would be discontinued in the fall of 2021 due to funding. But the love for the program has not died down. Alumni of the team have opened up the Greyhound Legacy Center in Fort Scott. The center celebrates and honors the program's history with memorabilia that includes bowl rings, Letterman jackets, programs, rosters, and more. Jack Milligan, president of the Legacy Center and member of the 1970 National Championship team, says that the town meant a lot to the players.
Fort Scott was a town that brought these kids from all over the country, embraced them, fed them, taught them, hugged them, and it's just become a home away from home for a lot of these kids.
Other alumni involved with the center say the bond with the team is special. Some have lasted for over half a century.
About 60 years ago when I was on the field. But it has meant a lot to me then. It's meant a lot to me over the years. About 5 years ago, our team organized a reunion here in Fort Scott, and we had about 30 former players that met here for the weekend. We had a great time.
In Fort Scott, at the Greyhound Legacy Center, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
For more on why the team was discontinued, go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. The Neosho, Missouri School District today formally announced the name of the Performing Arts Center that's currently under construction at the high school. The facility will be named after the legacy donor, Freeman Health System. Freeman donated $1 million toward the project. Other sponsors were also recognized at today's ceremony. Part of the $20 million project is also funded by a tax proposal approved by voters in 2020. School officials say this project will allow band, choir, and show choir students to perform at their best.
A nice sit-down theater is going to be good. It gives us opportunities to be able to hold contests and other events for our students. And it just gives them opportunities that they generally would not get unless we would leave the area.
The Performing Arts Center is one of many new upgrades in the school district. Storm shelters were completed at the elementary and middle school, along with the Lazy Boy End Zone facility. A local organization is giving kids who normally wouldn't be able to go to a summer camp the chance to do just that. Camp Quality is hosting a week-long camp in Neosho for children battling cancer or those in remission. Campers get to enjoy activities like swimming, crafts, a talent show, and hot air balloon rides.
To 10, I came in and it was the best week of my summer. Every year I was so pumped to come. And I remember as I got older, I just wanted to do my purpose, my purpose of why God let me survive.
Camp Quality is also hosting a virtual summer camp right now for kids who can't participate in person. President Biden is ordering emergency measures to ease supply chain issues so American solar manufacturers can make their solar products. The president invoked the Wartime Defense Production Act to speed up domestic manufacturing of equipment, including solar panel components and electric transformers. He also declared a 2-year exemption on tariffs on solar panels and parts from Southeastern Asia. Goodyear is recalling more than 170,000 truck and RV tires made between 1996 and 2003. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it found the G159 tires had a high rate of failure on RVs compared to similar tires. Federal investigators say Goodyear knew about the defective tires, knew about it since 2002, but waited until now to recall them, even though they've been blamed for several deaths over the years. Record high inflation shows no sign of dropping. The Treasury Secretary was on Capitol Hill today, facing questions from lawmakers as to why the administration didn't see it coming in the first place. Reporter Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
I do expect inflation to remain high, although I very much hope that it will be coming down now.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen sharing the same hopes as almost all Americans who have filled up their car lately or gone to the grocery store.
There's no question that inflation is too high and it has to be addressed, but we're starting to do that from a situation of strength.
The administration has been forced to clean up comments they made earlier that inflation was going to be transitory. However, it's not, and it shows no signs of letting up.
Let's be bold. Let's be urgent. Every day, Congress should come and we should say we're going to run through a brick wall, and priority 1, 2, and 3 should be lowering prices.
Secretary Yellen said they weren't anticipating the new COVID-19 variants, continued supply chain problems, and the war in Ukraine, all of which have contributed to record high inflation. And gas now nearly $5 on average. 13 states have already surpassed that.
The President's staff tried to play this off as Putin's price hike. How many times have we heard that? But the reality is that prices were already climbing steadily long before the escalation in Ukraine, up more than $1 per gallon before Putin's escalation.
Energy has had the biggest spike in prices of all categories. The next inflation report comes out on Friday. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
A bit later, how farming is evolving.
New self-driving tractors are revolutionizing the way we farm. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at the special devices, plus what's driving farmers to go high-tech. That's all straight ahead.
Good luck trying to find a...
Well, of course, it heated up for us today. Temperatures all the way up right around 90 degrees. We had some scattered thunderstorms during the morning hours, and then partly sunny skies, hot, humid, and we got more rain, which is headed toward us as we go through the overnight hours. Flash flood watch in effect southeastern Kansas due to the additional rainfall, which is going to start to push in. Not much going on out there right now, so we look pretty quiet as we go through the next few hours. It's mild. It's muggy. We're sitting into the mid to upper 70s. All right, now outside, let's go. 7th and range line sitting at 77. South winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 74%. But look at this. Look at this huge band. Showers and thunderstorms, parts of Iowa, Nebraska, and into western Kansas. The good news here is it's splitting a little bit. So this whole cluster is kind of rolling south and east. So this is going to head toward Kansas City and mainly stay north of or northeast of the viewing area. And then we got to see what kind of solidifies out here, because that will more or less kind of hit the four-state area later on tonight. So the heaviest is going to go to our north, heaviest is going to go to our south, but we are going to get some thunderstorms in here late tonight. I think mainly after about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they'll start getting going. You can see that northern band, and then look at these isolated storms in our southern counties starting to pop up, and those will really flare up by 6 or 7 o'clock. Here's 7 a.m. The band of scattered thunderstorms, southeastern Kansas, and as we go through the morning hours, these continue to flare up. But if you live really from Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, even a good chunk of Joplin, you may not get too much rain out of this, which is good news. But you can see this band of showers and thunderstorms continues during the morning hours. Here's 9 a.m. and then kind of skirts through by 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. Severe threat is overall fairly low, but still something we want to keep our eyes on tomorrow morning. This whole band gets out of here by late morning, but here comes the cold front. So with the cold front, we're going to get some isolated thunderstorms. Some of those could be kind of strong. So here's about the noon hour, and then by the afternoon, these skirt in our southern counties, then they're gone by the time we head into the evening. So a couple rounds of storms as we go through the morning hours. I would say 60% of us get rain in the morning. 74 by noon, high temp of 80. Tomorrow night looks fine. And then as we go into Thursday, overall looks pretty good. We're going to get partly sunny skies. We're going to warm back up into the lower 80s for afternoon highs. But here we go again. Another big batch will dive in by the time we head into Thursday night and Friday morning. Some of those could be strong to possibly severe. So still several rounds we need to keep our eyes on. 80 tomorrow, 82 Thursday, 83 on Friday. Majority of the weekend shaping up pretty good. We really heat up into the 90s by early next week.
Yeah, and it's going to be steaming. You can feel that rising up off of that wet ground already.
Yes, it will be.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws hit the road for the first time this summer. Plus, the Oklahoma Sooners are back in the Women's College World Series for the third straight season. Jacob Leonard has that and more up next.
The Joplin Outlaws are 2-2 in their first 4 games of the summer. All 4 of those have been home games for the Outlaws. Tonight, Joplin hits the road for the first time this season, facing the Nevada Griffins. This is the second meeting already between the two teams after Nevada won the season opener last week. Now this one still going. Right now, Nevada leads Joplin 13-5 in the top of the 8th. The Pittsburgh State Men's Track and Field earns 3 awards from the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. The first 2 go to coaches and head coach Kyle Rutledge and assistant coach Jason Crow. Rutledge is the Central Region Coach of the Year, and Crow is the Assistant Coach of the Year. Now, those guys led the Gorilla Men to their first ever outdoor national championship a couple weeks ago, which included 2 individual national champions and 13 All-Americans. One of those All-Americans, this guy, LJ Kiner, he is the Central Region Outdoor Field Athlete of the Year. Kiner took 3rd in the long jump at Nationals with a best mark of 25 feet 4 inches. Then, Kiner finished 2nd in the triple jump at 52 feet even. Now, between those and the 4x100 meter relay, Kiner earned 3 All-America finishes in Michigan.
He's a special talent, not only as a person, but my gosh, that guy is a freak athlete. I mean, he really is talented. And so what he did at Nationals in the long jump, and then coming out and did what he did in the 4x1 during the triple jump, and just competing, you know, and always staying focused and doing what he had to do for the team means a lot. He's going to USA's in a couple of weeks, and he's going to perform well there, and he's going to get that experience and knows what he has to do to go to that next level.
The St. Louis Cardinals have won 8 of their last 11 games. That includes taking 3 out of 5 from the rival Chicago Cubs last week. Tonight, the Cards remain on the road, opening a 3-game series against Tampa Bay. Dakota Hudson really good on the mound tonight for St. Louis. 7 innings, allowed just 2 hits and 1 earned run. Finishes with 6 strikeouts. Game was scoreless until the 7th. 8th inning here, Cards down 1. Harrison Bader singles to the grass. That scores a run. St. Louis ties it up. This game actually goes into extras tied at 1, but Taylor Walls hammers a walk-off 3-run shot. Cards fall in the end 4-2. The Kansas City Royals, they're on pace right now to lose a franchise record 110 games, but they do have a shot tonight to even their series with Toronto. They're butchering another one though right now. The Royals trail 5-0 in the top of the 8th. Well, the Oklahoma Sooners are back in the Women's College World Series Championship. The Sooners fought off elimination and beat UCLA 15-0 last night to punch their ticket to the finals for the 3rd consecutive season. Now, in the finals, you got a rivalry matchup with the Sooners facing the Texas Longhorns. Game 1 is tomorrow night at 7:30. Oklahoma, by the way, is trying for its 6th national title in program history. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Europeans can clear out their drawers of mystery cables because the European Union is officially adopting a common charger, the USB-C. Apple's required to adapt its products by late 2024 and is reportedly already testing the port in iPhones. The move comes as Apple and Android users have long complained about having to use different chargers for their devices. The European Commission says the new legislation will cut back on thousands of tons of electronic waste. Farms have come a long way with many high-tech devices infiltrating the agricultural world. Reporter Jackie Ibanez has a look at how self-driving tractors are making an impact.
Massive Western drought and the ongoing war in Ukraine are putting increased pressure on American farmers to ramp up food production in the face of global shortages. These factors, plus lingering pandemic labor deficits, are helping a growing number of farmers embrace high-tech innovations, like Deere & Co.'s first ever self-driving tractors.
Farmers are trying to grow food to feed the entire world, to feed a growing population.
Armed with artificial intelligence and GPS sensors, the autonomous tractors can be controlled right from your cell phone as they efficiently till fields. But the technology does more than plow dirt. It also gathers data on where crops are planted so workers can monitor soil quality and crop rotation year to year.
Making sure they preserve the quality of the soil in their land over time so that that land can be passed on to future generations for them to farm it.
But saving time and manpower while increasing productivity will cost you. Deere's self-driving tractors are expected to officially launch in the fall for $500,000. Some farmers say it's a situation where it takes money to make money.
If we can save money on our inputs or save money on operating our equipment, save fuel, do it faster and more efficiently, that's just a win-win situation.
The tractors could be the gift that keeps on giving. Industry experts hope the agricultural data they collect while plowing will help improve the way farming equipment is developed in the future. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up, Fox announces return dates for some popular series. That and more Hollywood news is next. MasterChef Junior is ready to take the show on the road. Plus, upcoming Netflix series and a new Disney adventure share first looks. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has that and more in today's Hollywood Nation.
Wednesday debuts, a hit show hits the road, and fall premieres are on the calendar in the Hollywood Nation. I'm just a cleaning lady. Fox fall premiere dates have been announced, including September 19th for Season 6 of 911 and Season 2 of The Cleaning Lady. Plus, The Masked Singer returns September 21st, followed by the brick building enthusiasts of Lego Masters.
I'm getting my first batch of blondies out!
The MasterChef Junior Live 2022 nationwide tour kicks off September 15th, serving up cooking demos and challenges in over 25 cities. The touring cast will be revealed after the Season 8 finale June 23rd. Tickets go on sale June 10th.
He's out of his cage.
Today's first looks feature a couple from Netflix's Geeked Week, which showcases genre entertainment. There's a teaser for Wednesday showing Jenna Ortega as Wednesday Addams in Tim Burton's upcoming series.
You know, the Sandman.
And The Sandman surfaced a sneak peek. The DC Comics-based series starring Tom Sturridge is about the dream-controlling being captured and forced to fix chaos caused by his absence.
Where in the world are we?
Plus, Disney revealed a teaser trailer from Strange World with the voice of Jake Gyllenhaal. The animated adventure follows explorers on a mission in uncharted land filled with fantastical creatures. It awaits theatergoers November 23rd.
Let's make history!
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a baby giraffe at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Let's make it a great tomorrow.